Hello everybody and welcome back to artofdino.com and saveearth.us to Tartarian Tales 92 with a CIA tour of the hotspots of the Crimea, Taurica, Chersonesus, Tartarian. And we're going to not really look at what they tell us, but we're going to look at what they don't tell us and what we can see and deduce. So it's going to be a lot of thoughts and theories mixed in here with some of what they quote unquote call facts, but again more of just believing that war is to destroy things. And so everything you're going to see is from the Crimea, except this. This is from Turkey, but this occurred before the Crimean War, and I just want you to take account of this and look at that village and that castle rock over there, that fortress and that city. I have a feeling that's a perfect image of what a lot of these hills and places looked like. That almost looks like it was even bigger at another ancient time, but that is massive, all the way up to the top, buildings everywhere, so much stuff, and we don't know how much of that is rubble. And I'm going to close with this map again because it will mean something different later, but take a look at this, Taurica Chersonesus. This is the place that is known as the Crimea now, and look at how close it is to Tartaria. And we know that they wanted that civilization erased, and they did everything they possibly could to get it done. Keep that in mind this whole time. And this was also, keep in mind, Crimea had the houses of the palaces of the Khans. It had so much. It might have been the DC of this ancient empire that stretched everywhere and had untold advancements. So keep that in mind as we check this. This is the CIA document that got me kind of inspired. It's from 1960 and it documents all the major cities of the Crimean Peninsula and all of the ancient history regarding them, or a lot of the ancient history, or what they know. Almost like they were surveying it, potentially looking to destroy more things, or looking for things that they had to erase, or just keeping track of heritage sites for good of education. Probably not in history, but most likely targets or something for a war in the Crimea that would take place maybe 50 years later, 60 years later in our present time, when they're just continuously destroying stuff and always coming up with new reasons to do so. So in the Crimean War, they talk about how it was, fought between the British and the Russians wanted the Ottoman Empire, and the British didn't want that to happen. Napoleon, all this garbage. I don't believe any of it, but I want you to look at these pictures. This is some pictures from the war, and then I'm going to go to each one of those towns in that CIA document, and we're going to look at some rubble. But look at these places. So many of these things are not what they seem. This Russian barracks looks like it could have been a St. Petersburg style place at one point, a huge, massive place. These other things, all these other war shots, similar to the Civil War shots of America, you always get this random imagery, cannons all over the place, cannonballs everywhere. But where are the troops? How are they fighting in the middle of nowhere? What's the point of this? The only point I can see in any of this is to destroy things, to destroy history, to dig up stuff, to confiscate it, to appease some rich people by gathering treasure from some ancient land and just destroying everything else in the history. There doesn't seem to be any purpose. How is this war fought? How are these? Anything makes sense about any of this? Like these scenes right here. This just looks like an army of people that are just doing, again, the same kind of stuff. I don't know. Who knows? Again, I'm sure they were fighting and there's all kinds of battles happening, but there's all kinds of sketchy things going on as well under the scenes. And they always try to tell us, like the cradle of civilization is the Sumeria and all this stuff. But how do we know? How do we know any of this? You can look at people at buildings in wars from the 1800s, from the early 1900s, and those places that were blown up then look like they were blown up thousands of years ago. They look the same as stuff that was blown up thousands of years ago, except for maybe the art and different things like that. But again, we have been lied to so much. There was a photographic van back there, one guy just going around documenting it. So he can't get everything, obviously, but still, they could have gotten a little more. And I'm sure they did, but they didn't want to show, and those things never get released. But the whole world was involved in this Crimean War, and it seems like they were just destroying things. So let's get into the CIA tour here, because these were the places that the CIA found were important. And I'm going to show you some of these different things. Look at these, just amazing pictures. At the very least, if you don't want to listen to my ramblings, take a look at some of these pictures. So in Alupka, which is what this one is, they The things that the CIA papers listed are it as one of the largest resort areas on the coast, 30 Sanatoria Inn in near city, whatever that means, Vorontsov Palace, which is what you're seeing in Park, outstanding example of an estate of the pre-revolutionary aristocracy. Palace now contains Crimean State Museum of Pictorial Arts, which displays works of Russian, Soviet, and Western European artists. Park covers 100 acres and contains exotic and decorative plants of many countries. So again, I'm not sure how much of this stuff has survived until now, but it would be interesting to know. But again, there's so many ancient things here that we're not told about. Just wait till you see like so many khans in different places, and you see these little things, these amazing ancient structures that are still here, and these ancient depictions of a world that is lost to us. So Alushta has listed by the CIA important resort areas, 14 sanatoria in the city. I wonder if that means sanatoria. I didn't even think about that before, but interesting. Storage cellars of Masandra Winery in Yalta, essential oil plant producing rose, lavender, sage, rosemary, frankincense, and violet oils. Alustan ruins of Byzantine fortress. That's what you're seeing here. 6th to 14th century AD, and then a Genoese fortress was built on its ruins in the 15th century. But look at this. That looks like a massive wall to me. That could be a huge, there's so much, everything. Again, this is one of those places where I'm convinced that everything we see as rock was once in a building and was once a structure. Ruins of the Tory habitations, this is that, I think, earliest known inhabitants of the southern Crimea, dating from the 10th century BC at A. Iori Cliffs and Gora, Mount Saras. So that's what you were seeing there, and those look like they were definitely cooked out, ancient, beautiful, amazing architectural places that we can't even fathom because they got to it first. This place is Bakhchisaray. You probably have heard of this. Some popular places here. There's a fruit juice plant, fruit nursery of the All Union Institute of Plant Growing, experiments to produce better varieties of fruit trees. Interesting. I could see why, again, America would not want that because it's not GMO. Essential oil plant producing rose, lavender, and sage oils. You know, what if that's another thing, another part of this conspiracy, that they didn't want essential oils to thrive, which they probably did in the past. They wanted natural flavors and chemicals to thrive. Could that be why they just may have destroyed these things or targeted them via the CIA? But look at this place. Look at these pictures. They're so beautiful. And you can tell that that was definitely something. Definitely a structure. Blasted. And then the facade is gone. That one, that past one with the rocks. A lot of these, facade gone, melted, everything eviscerated, maybe taken a giant lens laser to it. But wow. So they have a historical archaeology museum housed in the former Khan's palace, which directs the excavation of 14 medieval city-state sites near Bakhchisaray. Look at this. This place is the cradle of civilization, possibly, and a hint at the ancient place. Why they're warring it there now is exactly the same reason. They never stop. So Dyerby, tombs of Crimean Khans dating from 15th and 16th centuries AD is in this place. There's a place called Starosely Cave, a habitation of mid-Paleolithic man, 2 miles south of the city. This could be it right here. Uspensky Cave Monastery, ruins of one of the most renowned medieval Christian sites from the 15th to 18th centuries. Is that a pyramid in the background there? A couple of them in the distance. A place called Zinzerli, with a former Muslim seminary dating from the 16th century AD. A place called Chufut Kali, a fortified city of the Crimean Khans from the 6th to 18th centuries AD, 2 miles south of the city. And last, Kashi Kal En Cave Monastery, 9th and 10th centuries AD, 5 miles south of the city. So to just envision that, you know, these people were living in primitive things because they're from that time is totally wrong. Look, that looks like an ark. That looks like Noah's Ark crash landed there, or a giant spaceship or something crash landed there. These look extremely old. I'm not sure if that's Hebrew, but dear God, dig. We need to dig. Look at that. That looks like it was a giant arch. Maybe there was a statue or something amazing that they took out of there and destroyed and eliminated from it. Something of metal that they wanted and needed and melted down. And who knows? But look at this. This place is a playground of the ancient wonder. Look at those, almost are still there. Totally cooked out. Amazingly melted, but also horribly. Just look at this. And all that dirt piled up there. That wall probably goes all the way straight down, and then all just that filth piled up from whatever flood or whoever happened or destruction. Just massive. everywhere. This place has been pummeled, and there's a reason for it. And it's very telling that it's still happening now, in our present moment, right now. So this is Theodosia you're seeing right now. You most likely have heard of that as well. So some of the CIA hotspots are one of the oldest cities in the Crimea, which is Theodosia, founded in 6th century BC. At present, it's a resort city. Several sanatoria and rest homes. I wonder if that, sanatoria, if those are big buildings or whatnot. Mineral springs in mud lakes west and north of city, used in treatment of gout, diabetes, and stomach ailments. Contains sodium sulfate and sodium chloride. Ivazovsky Picture Gallery contains over 2,000 paintings. 4,000 are seascapes by an artist, I.K. Ivazovsky. Ruins of an early Stone Age habitations near the city, which they know nothing about. There's a little obelisk in the back there, a little nice pinnacle. Numerous burial grounds of Bosporus, Cimmerius kingdom on outskirts of the city, dating from the 5th century BC to the 4th century AD. Gore's Mitridad, which is what you're seeing a lot of pictures of, which is a crazy looking place. Definitely look it up. Gora Mitridat, hill in the southern part of the city. Near base are ruins of excavated city of Mitridat, dating from the 1st century AD. Tourist route to summit provides a view of city and harbor. Look at these doors. The remaining things are so nice, and it's all missing what it used to look like. This one's pretty cool too. The Kaffa Fortress, a Genoese trade center during the 13th to 15th centuries AD, now state historical archaeological preserve. St. Sergei Armenian Church, built in the 14th century AD as well. I think that's what you're seeing there. But again, also keep in mind this, that it seems like in the past things I'm willing to believe that ancient peoples never totally, not as often felt this, whatever that is nuts. But I bet you they didn't always feel the need to destroy each other's history. I have a feeling that is like something that's not new, but somewhat from one of the last or several last resets. Whatever these controllers are that are occupying this realm now. Look at that. That looks like it's in Greece. Again, gone, reduced to rubble. So many different things, legendary, that could have linked things all over the world. And that's what I think, they had a peaceful civilization that was universal, able to go all over the world, and people, again, respected each other. They respected the history. They probably wanted to preserve it. And then until some race of just psychopaths came in and decided that they're going to bring war to this realm, and they're going to destroy everything that gives humans power, and that gives them hope of something better, and anything that can make them get a grip of what they used to be and what the world once was. Because if we don't know what greatness we came from, we have no desire to bring it back, and we will settle for whatever they give us. And so that's what you see happening. These places were medievally perfect. The architecture was amazing. Things were strong. Life was a lot better, I have a feeling, in all these places back in their prime before the messes happened. And just again, the fact that this stuff is happening in the Crimea today is outrageous. A battle between Russia wanting to take it. Look at these buildings, God, and the same other side. So it's really nuts. Hopefully, it will get resolved, and the people can figure out a way to live peacefully and somehow restore this ancient magic that once was, because there's so much we don't know. And if they just were able to dig peacefully, we'd probably find so much that could help all of humanity and unite us instead of tearing us apart and making everyone stupid. But either way, again, this is the Kaffa Fortress here. Look at that entrance, that pyramidal entrance. It's insane. There's no way of telling what these amazing things are happening. And so this is already going into Kirch. Look at that electricity. Kirch is the next city. Wow. Let me take a look at that one more time. Very interesting to see how they have that tech there and that telecommunications beam at the top, and so many nice buildings. Everything looks nice. No trash, no filth, no nothing that's just that we see everywhere in this world. And Kirch is definitely known, again, for this is where this accident happened. They blew up that bridge. And so this is from, you might have seen some of these images in the last one. Some of these places are close together, and some of the imagery will blend together, but it's all in the Crimea, so that's the main point. But again, Kirch, get ready for some of this stuff. Wild architecture, wild history, and just amazing things that the CIA was all over. So here we go. Kamsh Barunsky's iron ore combine, open pit iron mine and enriching plant, principal sources of ore for the Donbass steel industry. Ship construction and repair plant. You go again. These seem like all strategic war spots because you have things like that. The iron places, the ship construction places that if you want a war with someone, you're going to target. But then you have the ancient ones. Why are they listed in the same thing? Like, they're all set for destruction by the controllers. Sick. So here we go. We got a Kurov coke chemical plant, produces coke, ammonia, tar, and benzol. Voykov metallurgical plant produces pig iron, rolled steel, and rails. Fish processing plants, 6 plants including canning factory and smoke curing enterprise. The Azov Black Sea Scientific Research Institute of Fisheries and Oceanography is here. Look at that. Azov Black Sea Fish Industry Survey. Pushkin Historical Archaeological Museum presents history of city and adjacent area from earliest times. Wonder what that had in it. Pantikapaeum, the site of the capital of Bosporus from the Cimmerius kingdom, 5th century BC, within city limits. So again, this is pretty close to that previous place that I had mentioned. Tiritaki, an excavated city of Bosporus kingdom at Arshintsivo, 4 miles to the southwest. Look at all these ruins just everywhere. And again, everything we see is ruins. If you come across these stones in the woods, everywhere, I think that they're always this. They're always like, they tell us about the different things like the Ice Age and stuff. It's just nonsense. They blew up. Whenever you see pictures of them blowing something up, there's always tons of rock around, and that's just what you see everywhere. And I'm willing to believe that, like most current sciences, that geology is just a total bunch of garbage as well, paid for by the people that control everything. So, but real quick, there's some burial mounds dating back. The south of the city, the Tomb of Dimitri is a unique example of fresco paintings. Gora Mitridate, again, hill on southwest edge of city. Summit provides uninterrupted view of the city. Stairway to summit and memorial obelisk to World War II. That's what that was before. Slopes contain archaeological diggings of houses, catacombs, and tombs of Bosporus Kingdom. Chokrisky mineral springs. Water and mud contain iodine, bromine, lithium, boron, and sodium. And Yenikale, ruins of Turkish fortress. So they know where all these things are come. All these minerals are come. They're assessing everything from the ancient things, which appear to have just as much value as the sites that are definitely strategic in order to win a war. So interesting. A lot of research put into this. Intentions unsure. And now we'll move on to Partizanskoye and Peralnoi. So here we are, Noi. I pronounced all these terribly, but here we go. So this place features, again, you're going to see some beautiful stuff and caves, but Crimean Astrophysical Observatory of the Academy of Sciences. Look at that cave. What was there? What was happening there? And what happened there after the reset? Before, there was probably something amazing. It was probably some absolutely beautifully elaborate place, and then just devastated by war and evil. So that place is the USSR's largest reflector telescope with a 50-inch mirror in the Soviet Union, 1 mile south of the city. Ruins of Paleolithic habitations, Shaitan Koba and Kabizi caves is what you're seeing right now, 4 miles northwest of the city. And look at the walls, again, blown out, gutted. Oh, these people just carved into caves, and that's it. They carved into the natural formation rock. There's not a chance that an ancient civilization built something beautiful. We, the evil people, blew it to dust, and then when we destroyed and reset everything, the cave people crawled in there, and that's what you're seeing, and that's the only thing we're going to tell you that ever existed here. Meanwhile, you see all these things. Stairways, underground cities, everywhere, in America, in the Crimea. Look at these things that just pop out, these walls. Multiple layers of what could have been constant habitations. Different circles, different arches, things really cooked. That almost looks like it's melted with acid or something. Or like they say, water, but again, they don't. Look at that. That looks like it had to have something incredible in it, and then something just blew it to dust. Look at that. There's something, again, amazing there. The chances of these things being natural, to me, don't really seem to make sense anymore. I don't believe that. I just don't believe in it. But you never know, I guess. But again, look at these. This, again, all I see is an absolute beautiful place. Like you see in those early pictures that I showed you, the very second photo of this video, our artwork of this video, where everything looks beautiful, everything's well kept, everything's preserved, everything is nice. People respect things in the history, in the culture, and you don't have anything looking like this. This stuff in this ruins and rebel comes later. That's what I believe the old world was like. Again, there's also Peralnoi, which has the Kizilkoba cave with the remains of Bronze Age habitations. This is unbelievable. I don't understand how that's even considered or not considered something absolutely spectacular around the world. The Kadzikoba cave, remains of Upper Paleolithic habitation, 8 miles northeast of the city. Like, that could have been a massive tower. I'm sure there was something on top of it right near the water. You can guarantee there was something on top of a peak like that. And look, just these walls and random spots, these random rocks in the middle that are just clearly were something else. There's like, we need to all completely shed that, any type of that mentality from the geologists, and maybe even dive into the history of geology and figure out where it went wrong and when they started just like declaring certain things to be true, and when they started to, and who, I guess, was who was maybe fighting with them during the time, who were their combatants of the geology industry, because there's always someone, whenever an industry goes the wrong direction, there's always members of that industry and research group that stand firm. And same with like the flat earth and all the science that we know, the health things that have come into effect in the last few years. People knew stuff, but they got ramrodded by other people who were paid to pretend to know stuff. And that happens in every single field around the world. So here we go, Sevastopol. Another really big popular one, very famous. Who knows how much of this is destroyed in the present moment. Again, it would be interesting to see through time from here to now what these are. And wow, look at them. Again, the same architecture you find all over the world. This world was universal. It didn't become segregated and segmented and warring enemies in a natural way. There's some kind of force along with that reset has just made it a mess, made this beautiful place a mess. So here are some of the things of Sevastopol that you will see in these images. The Institute of Biology of the Southern Seas Aquarium is one of the largest in USSR. The Historical Museum of the Black Sea Fleet displays the history of the fleet, founded in 1869. Malakov Kurgan Summit has a memorial to World War II airmen and affords a view of the city and harbor, located in the eastern part of the city. See some ruins there, some excavations. Cyclorama of Defense of Sevastopol. Look at that place. Jeez. That place almost looks like a cooked out office building that you'd see in modern times. No telling. All right, Cyclorama housed in circular building constructed to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Crimean War. Memorial to this. Look at that. What is that? It could be a cistern, or it could be something totally different. That place, amazing. Memorial to Soviet Armored Forces of World War II. Mounted tank in a park on hill in southeast part of city. Provides view of city and harbor. Khersoneski Historical Archaeological Museum, founded in 1892. Chersonis, site of ancient Grecian city-state, founded in 4th century BC. Excavated streets, houses, and other buildings 2 miles west of city. This place is amazing. This castle is just mind-blowing. There's the ruins of a Genoese fortress dating from 15th century AD. I believe that right there you're seeing is the Cyclorama of Defense. And again, it looks like what they say, the Romans and all these other things that are supposed to be so different, but they all look the same. Sepamgura, another place, Memorial Museum of World War II, 4 miles southeast of city. And look at that. That is, again, what the old world looked like. We get to live in the ruins of that. Ancient city sites near Inkerman. There was a big battle fought there. 3 miles east of the city. Chubash Towery Fortress, dating from the 10th century BC. Kalamita Cave City and Fortress cut into cavernous cliffs, 6th to 15th centuries AD. So think of that, 6th to 15th centuries. That's a long time, 900 years of success and non-destruction. I bet you all of these places had that, and that time period was probably incredible. The one that they block out and erase from our history there was something massive there, and there was a group of people that were amazingly talented archaeologists. The technology was advanced, probably more so than even today, and in ways that actually mattered, not in useless ways that don't matter, and which our generation seems to be obsessed with, making just inventions that just destroy the beauty and patience of the human experience, but also fulfill some addiction need. I don't know. We've gone so far in the wrong direction. I would absolutely kill to live in this time period when you look around you and you see beauty. You don't see trash. You don't see just nastiness everywhere. You see people that are of a whole different mindset that we can't even fathom, of a history that they knew that helped enrich their world that is completely lost to us. So many things, and that's such a huge factor. When you know your history, you can do a lot as a result of it, and you feel empowered by it, because, and again, it continues. You're continuing a tradition. You're not just restarting after a reset and then going wherever. Like, even if say we were reset after in the 1850s, which a lot of people kind of put it towards the Civil War, etc., that's only 200 years. Can you imagine what these places were like when they were going from the 5th to the 16th centuries? How much they would evolve? Probably so much, especially if their archaeology was great. They had ethereal tech, and they were in a world where the things were just beautiful, and they were able to make these massive buildings, these massive carvings, so they had tools. They weren't doing this all by hand. They were able to forge things. They had bells. They definitely, most likely, had electricity. They saw lightning. I'm sure these people figured it out. They had friction. I'm sure these people figured it out. Again, so many things we're duped into believing can't be possible, but definitely were. It is all a psychological mind game. And with these things these places on the list, in this CIA list from 1960, these are targets. These are clear targets, and this is what you do. You list the places that need to be taken out, or need to be focused on, or need to be steered in a different direction, or need to be targeted, and you do it. And people don't know. In a few generations, it's very easy to convince them of anything. Especially take a look at the way our new generation does not do much research. They're typing things into AI, and that's doing the work for them, and they're not learning a thing. Imagine how easy it's going to be to mold that generation. So here we go. Simfero. This is going to be the last one I'm going to go to today, and again, some magical stuff. So I'll read the CIA hot list here and take a look at some of these pictures. Simfero, capital and economic, cultural, and scientific center of Krimskaya Oblast, the Crimean Oblast. Oblast Regional Museum, which had a library of 50,000 books on the Crimea. I wonder where those books are now. I'd love to get my hands on some of those. Simfero Picture Gallery, displays of works of Russian artists from 18th to 20th centuries. Would love to see that. Would also love to see what came before it. Especially would really look at that. Oh, that ship structure in the distance is also amazing. I'll show a picture of it zoomed in at one point, but wow. Cool stuff in this Crimea, Taurica, Chersonesus area. And again, remember that I did a video on that in the past called Taurica, Chersonesus, and that's what this zone was called. And that's a very masterful name, and I love that name. And it's a great word. I named a song after it, actually. But very cool. So keep that in mind. That's what it was known as. And again, the words, everything, language, the spells, it changes everything. Every single aspect of life changes when you go away from perfection and you head towards a materialist war mentality. Your whole world changes. The spirituality side slips away. Your historical radar GPS of where you are is nullified, and you're just lost in a crazy world. So a few more hotspots in Simferopol are the building in which D.I. Mendeleev taught chemistry in the 1890s. Not sure who he is, but could be worth looking into. There's a tobacco curing plant where furnished tobacco for manufacturing plants throughout the Soviet Union. Kaibyshev food machine construction plant produces complex automatic machines for food processing, including manufacture of tin cans, supplies plants throughout Soviet Union. Thermal electric power station under construction, completed portion in operation, will be the largest in Crimea. Target. Higher educational institutes, medicine, teaching, and agriculture. Agricultural experimentation stations. Experimental work on vegetables, essential oil plants, and medicinal oil plants. They don't have that anymore. Seismic station, Simfero essential oil combine producing rose, lavender, and sage oils. They were probably grown so deliciously and beautifully over here. They were probably so good, and again, no China chemicals. Wow. What a thought. Simfero canning plant, producing canned vegetables and fruits, quality famous throughout the Soviet Union. Institute of Mineral Resources of Academy of Sciences. Let's get rid of that. That's the geology thing I was talking about. Mineral resources. Again, the Russians are told their education on the other side of the world is way different than America's, and then America's just virusy spreads everywhere. We're the best. Listen to us. We're the science masters. And then everyone else is like, Meanwhile, other countries are doing it right and probably thinking much better than us in so many areas I can't even fathom. Again, we got the Institute of Microbiology and Epidemiology, Institute for Protection of Vegetation, something clearly not ever in America, Crimean branch of All Union Geographic Society, very interesting, Crimean branch of All Union Society for Propagation of Political and Scientific Knowledge, Crimean branch of Ancient and Medieval Archaeology of Institute of Archaeology, Crimean branch of Institute of Construction Material of Ministry of Industrial Construction Materials, Crimean branch of Academy of Sciences, Crimean Agricultural Institute, and then Kirch Cave, remains of habitations of stone, bronze, and iron age man in the ruins of Neapolis, which I showed some pictures of, ancient capital of Scythian state from the 3rd century BC to 4th century AD, again 700 years of progress, Bronze Age burial mounds on shores of city water reservoir. Wow. And lastly, there's a place called Stary Krim, which is in the next place, and it says the former capital of Crimean Khans from the 14th century AD, but I couldn't find that one. So now keep all of that in mind as we look at this map. Taurica Chersonesus, home of the Crimean Khans, the Tartarian Khans. Again, like I said before, possibly like the DC, the trade capital. It's right on the Mediterranean. It's possibly look at it, it's a perfect peninsula, it's a perfect little zone for military, for everything. So imagine what they had done to it in their prime after so much evolution and so much growth and advancement. Again, these cities were not reset every couple hundred years like we are now. They were just constantly building upon things. And so their sciences were dating back further because all their stuff hadn't been strategically destroyed from them and withheld from them. So their knowledge could have been so vast we can't even fathom it today. And again, Tartaria, never has there ever been a civilization that's been targeted for just total destruction, as far as we know. I mean, maybe there have been, we just haven't even ever heard of it. But as far as ones that we have recently come across that are missing from all the books, it's Tartaria. And so connected to the Crimea, connected to the modern war right now, and I wonder if more will come out, if more will come to light as this war hopefully comes to an end and they start, repairing and replenishing this beautiful zone that was once like an amazing spot, once could have been the cradle of an incredible civilization. So much existed here in this Taurica Chersonesus that we have no idea about. So much unfathomable stuff that they did put so much effort into, so much wars, millions and billions of people throughout time, billions and trillions of dollars, destruction everywhere to make sure that you and I don't know about it and never can know about it. So again, that must mean that it was better than anything, and better than any of the civilizations they tell us about, the Egyptians, the Romans, all of them. It must have been better because they kept those ones. Oh, you guys can learn all about these guys. We'll tell you everything you want to know about these people, even though we'll lie to you about what it is, but we'll still let you know about them. But these ones, no, they're erased, and we're going to continue to wage war in their native lands. So really sickening, really sad, and hopefully it comes to a resolution and the people can regain their cultural identity and come to the top of history and add this whole part of the world history, because again, it's been deleted from it. And everything, a true history factors in everything. And so we must in the future. Hopefully we will, and we'll see a renaissance of thought and archaeology to come soon enough. Who knows? But thank you all for checking this out from artofdino.com and saveearth.us. Bless you all.